New from Vinegar Syndrome is Scanner Cop on 4K, no less. And this movie is a kind of sequel of sorts to Cronenberg's Scanners movie, and it's all about Sam Staziak, a police officer who is a scanner as well in the police force, trying to deal with his ability and with sort of past relationships, because we get to see him at the start as a young kid with his father in a wonderful opening sequence that really showcases the wonderful effects, practical effects, that are going to continue through this film. It's a tremendous sequence, and it's this element of the three heads popping out of the forehead, and it looks amazing. It just really lets you into the idea of the movie. It lets you quickly buy into the idea of scanners and how they are tormented by their ability, driven mad by it, and that's going to become a through line throughout the movie. If they don't take this drug, they're overwhelmed by the senses around them, and it can drive them crazy. Sam is adopted by a police officer. He grows up, joins the force, and ultimately, very quickly into his job, police officers are starting to be murdered. Someone is capturing people, programming them to attack people wearing the police uniform outfit, and they can't seem to get any information from these catatonic people who are perpetrating these violence. They're trying to get to them, but they just can't do it. But the police captain was the person who adopted Sam and knows he's a scanner, bringing him in to use his abilities to try to get to the heart of this horrible event and how to stop these events from happening in the future. You get a wonderful bad guy in the form of Richard Lynch, who's always tremendous in this one. He's got a wonderful sidekick as well. You get some familiar faces from some other B-movie actors we've seen in other things before. But this is a kind of cop thriller horror movie that really hammers home the action, the thrills, and the excitement, the general excitement, as well as terror and horror. Now, I mentioned the special effects, and I would be remiss if I didn't go back and just talk about them for a little while. They are wonderful and seamless. Even watching them on the 4K disc, you don't notice anything of how it could possibly be done. It looks wonderful. The throbbing veins that seem to pulsate out of somebody's face, the heads that break out of the forehead of one of the characters is a wonderful effect, and there are other such similar effects as well. I really like the idea of the story of the bad guy and why he was doing what he was doing, particularly the kind of hypnosis and suggestion based influence of just regular people to be his murder weapon. Richard Lynch is always the bad guy and he's always great as that bad guy. Daniel Quinn as Sam is really good, and it's fun watching him using his scanner abilities, because you really feel that he's about to pop an aneurysm at any point. He literally looks as if he's turning red, shaking violently. It's kind of silly, but I really kind of like that silliness that it has. And for a B movie with them really great effects, it has a pretty solid story. Although it's not wholly original, there are tropey elements throughout it. It hammers them all home. It doesn't lean on them overly too much. It doesn't stress on these parts overly too much. It just is enough there to flesh out the story and give it a little bit more meat on the bones, which I really appreciated. The scanner sequences are just a joy to behold. I love these kind of things, and there are some genuinely horror versions of this. When Sam is talking to Zena near the end, and he tries to scan her, he ends up in a kind of almost Nightmare on Elm Street type nightmare sequence where it looks pretty horrifying and you're expecting things to jump out and get you. I really liked Scanner Cop. I thought it was a tremendous movie. I loved the actors, I loved the story, I loved the special effects oh so much, which were great. but it's more than that. It's just an entertaining cop thriller with horror elements that really delivered. I'd love to know your thoughts on Scanner Cop. Let me know in the comment box below. I'll see you next time on Man v Film.